You've been up since before sunrise. The brisket finally comes off, it rests, and then you make the only cut that really matters. The first one, straight down through the middle. And there it is, a band of pink sitting just under the bark, running the whole length of the slice. The smoke ring. In barbecue, that pink line is the thing. It's the photograph everybody posts. Competition judges eat with their eyes, and they look for it. Get a deep one, and you feel like you've finally arrived. And almost everything you've been told about how it gets there turns out to be wrong. Starting with the smoke. So let's be precise about what we're looking at. Under the bark, the meat is pink. Deeper in, it's gray. The boundary between them is sharp enough to look drawn on. That pink layer is usually about 1/8 of an inch deep. Under the right conditions, it can reach 1/2 inch, but 1/8 is what most cooks get, and it is thinner than most people picture. Here's the part that starts to give the game away. The ring does not keep growing. At some point during a long cook, it simply stops, and no amount of extra smoke, extra time, or extra fussing will make it any deeper. Whatever is making that pink band has a deadline. To understand what it is and why it quits, you have to look at what gives meat its color in the first place. Ask around and you'll get a familiar list. You need heavy smoke, the thick white kind rolling out of the stack. You need paprika in the rub to bring the color up. You need plenty of salt. You have to get the smoke on early because after a couple of hours, the meat stops taking it. And the whole thing is over once you pass 140 degrees. Every one of those is reasonable. Every one of them is also wrong, and they were all settled by the same person. Greg Blonder is a physicist, and he is the science advisor at Amazing Ribs. Paprika does nothing. Salt has little to do with it. There is no time limit on smoke absorption at all, and the ring doesn't stop at 140 degrees. It stops at about 170, which leaves the big one, the smoke itself. Here's how you'd find out. Suppose you took pork tenderloins and sealed each one inside a bag before it ever went near the fire. Parchment, butcher paper, a turkey basting bag, even a vacuum filter. Every one of them is porous enough to let gases pass straight through and far too tight to let a smoke particle follow. The meat cooks in the heat and in the gases and never once touches the smoke. You open the bags, you slice, and every single one has a smoke ring. So it was never the white stuff. Blonder went further. He cooked meat in a sealed container of nitric oxide and another in carbon monoxide with no fire anywhere near it. Both came out ringed. And if that still isn't enough, you can do a version of this in your own kitchen. Sprinkle curing salt on a piece of meat, bake it in an ordinary oven, and you'll pull out a perfect smoke ring from an appliance that has never made smoke in its life. Which tells you what the ring actually is. Meat is pink because of a protein called myoglobin. Heat destroys it, and gray is what's left. But nitric oxide, made in your fire when nitrogen in the wood meets oxygen in the air, binds to that protein and locks the color in place before the heat can reach it. The ring is not smoke that got in. It's the color that never left. If the ring comes from nitric oxide, then the question stops being about smoke and starts being about combustion. So Blonder measured it. He put sensitive equipment on the exhaust of 10 different fires and read off how much nitric oxide each one was actually producing. A roaring wood fire lands between 50 and 200 parts per million. A pellet smoker at 225 sits at 25 to 50. An electric smoker with wood chunks manages under 2. A propane grill, also under 2, because propane burns so cleanly it produces almost nothing but carbon dioxide and water. But look at the top of that table. Roaring charcoal briquets beat a wood fire, and they beat lump charcoal badly, which is the opposite of what most people would guess. There are 2 reasons. Lump is nearly pure carbon, so there's very little nitrogen in it to work with. And lump pieces are irregular, so they interlock and choke off their own airflow, while briquets stack with gaps that let oxygen through. More oxygen, hotter fire, more nitric oxide. That's the through line in the whole table. It isn't how much smoke you can see. It's how hot and how clean the fire is burning. And on a pellet grill, the thing moving that air is a fan. So if you want a deeper ring, 4 things actually move it. Keep the surface wet. Spritz or mop with something thin and water-based, and it works 3 separate ways at once. Evaporating water cools the surface, which helps the gas condense onto it. The wet surface is sticky and grabs the chemicals as they pass, and it holds off the bark, which would otherwise seal the meat. Second, start cold and stay low. Warm meat goes gray too fast for the gas to get ahead of it. Third, trim the fat cap down. Gas will move through fat, but fat has no myoglobin, so there's no pink in there to hold, and a thick cap simply blocks it. And fourth, burn a hot, clean fire, because that's where nitric oxide comes from in the first place. Do those 4 things and you'll get about as much ring as your meat has to give. That leaves one last question, and it's the one nobody asks. Does the smoke ring taste like anything? No, it adds no flavor at all. The pink band is a color change in a protein, and color has no taste. Every bit of flavor you're getting comes from the bark, the smoke compounds, and the fat, and all of that would be exactly the same on a brisket with no ring whatsoever. But don't throw it away, because the fire that makes a good ring is a vigorous fire at the right temperature, and by meathead's own account, that same fire produces the best meat. So the ring isn't the prize, it's the receipt. It's your fire telling you it was burning hot and clean and moving air properly for hours while you weren't watching. That's worth looking for. Just stop cooking for it. Everything in this video is the research of Professor Greg Blonder, published free at genuineideas.com and written up by Meathead at amazingribs.com. Both are linked below. Please go and read them. If you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.